Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my book review channel. Today I am reviewing Jodi Picoult's book, The Storyteller. I've heard a lot about her. A lot of the folks at my work really adore her, and I found 3 of her books in this free pile that we have at work where people just bring things in. I picked up My Sister's Keeper, another book, I forget the title of it, and then this one because a lot of the people at work say that she's just fantastic, and I see her name all over the place in my writing groups and my reading groups online. This one's called The Storyteller, and I'm a storyteller. I like to write books, so I figured let's start with this one, and if it's good, I'll keep reading more by her. And boy, did this book deliver. It really was beautifully written. It was sad. It was so sad that I almost couldn't keep reading it at times because it is based on the Holocaust. So, boy, I'll tell you what, this book, as beautiful as it was, and it's not a horror book, it was worse than some of the horrors that I've read as far as just the terrible things that people can do to each other. So I'll tell you a little more about it in a moment, but first, just let me get through our little intro here, okay? Here we go! Not a very good intro, but I'm also not much of a computer guy, so I don't do a hell of a lot of heavy editing on this channel. I just focus on the books. So, it starts off with this woman. She's got a lot of problems, and her name is Sage Singer. She's a baker, and she's also a loner. She's a bit of a loner because she got into a car accident with her mother, left a scar on her face, and it kind of ostracized her from her family a little bit. Sage feels that the sisters they resent her for the accident that her and her mother were in. She believes that she's the one that distracted her mother and caused the accident to begin with and is the reason her mother passed away. And she feels that the sisters resent her. On top of that, the scar that she was left with on her face, it makes her feel a little self-conscious, so she hides. She works as a baker at night, bakes all the goods, and the people in the morning come in. They start buying the goods while she goes home and she sleeps. At her mother's funeral, one of the funeral directors, he's a married man, he gets into a relationship with her. So he's cheating on his wife and constantly promising our main character, Sage, that he'd like to leave his wife and be with her. But this never happens. It's a constant promise. But as we learn, the theme of this book really is Sage is trying to learn to be more accepting of who she is, and she doesn't have to settle for less and hide all the time and be the hidden person in her family's life, be the hidden person in the public life, and only work at night in the back room baking. She doesn't have to just settle for someone who wants to hide her from his wife. That, in my opinion, is the theme of this book. Now, the actual premise of this book, the hook, so to speak, is in her grief group where she goes and talks about her mother. She meets this old man and befriends him, and his name is Joseph Weber. Now, he's in his 90s, and it turns out he's there because his wife passed away now. Joseph has a hell of a secret, and he befriends Sage, who happens to be of Jewish descent, and he is of German descent, and he confides in her one day and tells her that he is an SS Nazi soldier. And the reason he confides this in her is because he has guilt that he's lived for, like 70 years, and he's just done living with this guilt, and he wants her, Sage Singer, to kill him. So that's where the book really takes off. Now, it's pretty cool because we got about maybe 50 to 100 pages of this book leading up to that story. And then we learn that Sage's grandmother is a Holocaust survivor, and that's where the connection takes place. So grandmother actually knows Joseph Weber and knows who he really is, and has a very dark and sinister history with this man. The majority of the book, I'd say about 200 to 300 pages of it, all involves that backstory where, that's where the horror takes place. I was reading these 200 to 300 pages with my jaw on the floor, just the horrible things that the grandmother went through, and just everybody in that time period in Poland and Germany just went through. It's even the German folks that didn't want anything to do with it suffered. It was just horrible. And what a sad book. I almost couldn't finish it because it was so damn sad. But it's also important that we learn this little bit of history so we don't repeat it, but it's also a good thing that we don't drown in it either. So it's good to remember it, but boy, if I hold on to this story too tightly, I might go into a real dark place knowing that people can do such things to each other. So I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm going to read a nice positive book next. I'm actually reading just a quick little pulp fiction novel, a little courtroom thriller, and it's helped me get me back into a better place after reading that one. But it was a great book. I highly recommend it. Just make sure you're in the proper headspace for it if you should decide to pick it up. Fantastic book. Jodi Picoult definitely made a fan out of me, and I believe I'm going to read My Sister's Keeper next because that one comes highly recommended. But Jodi Picoult, The Storyteller, awesome book, just very, very sad. And with that said, that's the end of this video. Nice quick one for you. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next time.